Hello, everybody. Welcome to Q&Angels. I'm Stephanie Lodge, the Hug Angel. How are you? I am so excited to have you here today. Welcome to Q&Angels. I am just feeling this week. This week has been a doozy. How's everybody? I'm going to check the chat room. I'm in studio, so some of you joining, thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Stav. Hi, Frenzy. Hi, Jeanette. Frenzy, I think that's who is that? I know that's a different name. I can't remember everybody, but thank you for being here early. Thank you for coming in and joining, and I'm so excited to have you here. And we will be diving in, giving everybody a little bit of time to join, because I know it takes a minute to get this all rolled out across the multiverse. Jeanette, she's like, I just realized today's 10/20, 20, 20. Yes, lots of 20s. You know how my angels roll. We hook up the codes. We're always working in the numbers. So I'm also putting on some oils. For those of you who have them, feel free to use them. Got some frankincense going. What do you guys have? What's going on out there? There's another one I wanted to work with. Let's see. Oh, the lavender. Lavender with blue lotus. Some special stuff here. So we're going to be connecting in. We have some questions that came in from the Angelhood. For those of you who are not familiar with the Angelhood, I really invite you to join our social sanctuary at theangelhood.com. So good. So good. The energy came in really hot just a few minutes ago before I went live. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Ron. Thanks for joining. Hi, Bee. Bees is in the house. The dragon dog, one of them. So it was funny because I was really in this place today of just deep rest. The day started off a little bit more chaotic, and then I got to a place where I'm like, I just need to chill, take a nap. So I took a nap. A lot of integration, a lot of energy flow. Just feeling the need to ground. A lot of grounding necessary. I've been working with my crystals. I have my palm stone here, my gold obsidian, and then I also have my gold sheen obsidian, and then I have my big Vogel, for those crystal aficionados out there. Hi, Peter. Welcome, Peter. Yeah, just feel free to say hi and come into the sanctuary. Come into the Angelhood with us. Let us know you're here. If you are live and you are present in this present moment of now, thank you. If you are coming in on demand later in the quantum, thank you. It's only now, right? So it's going to still apply, whatever's going to stream through tonight. And I'm here really just to understand for everybody that no matter what is occurring, what is happening in your world, whatever energies are moving through you, around you, in your life experience, that there is really only love happening, always. That's really it. It's always just love. Now, of course, there will be those who are in opposition to love, and there are those who will shut the faucet off to love and occasionally shut down and not let it penetrate them out of fear and other reasons. So we want to send a little extra special love to them because I know they might be in pain, they might be in sadness and grief. And so I'm just sending a lot of loves and hugs, as we say, the angel hugs coming your way. Okay. So Q&Angels. Q&Angels came in, for those of you who are on Angelic Academy, by the way, I want to say you can always go to Angelic Academy and find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram as Angelic Academy, if you have not already found us there. But Angelic Academy has actually been around for a long time. I created Angelic Academy back in, I want to say 2013 or 2014, somewhere in there. And Q&Angels came in around that same time. A lot of energy of creation came through in those years for me. And so Q&Angels for me was really just the idea of when we ask a question to our higher self, to what we call source, God, love, life, spirit, that we will always be answered. There's always going to be an answer. Now, the funny thing is the answer doesn't always come in the way that we think it's going to come, right? It doesn't always come like directly on the nose, this is your answer. It will come through codes in your life, things you see, people you meet. I kind of say a lot of times Spirit speaks through many. So you have a lot of telephones in your life around you, people around you who love you, and they're giving you advice. And sometimes we're open to that advice and sometimes we're not. But What I do know is when you ask a question, there will always be an answer somehow. There will always be support. Support is always there. The universe of love is always here in abundance to support you. Some people say that it's always conspiring for your highest good. So what happens is sometimes humans will create different conspiracy, different ideas, different levels of consciousness that are not true, that are limited beliefs, that kind of bury them down, dim their light, give them limitations. They onboard and take in beliefs of others, their parents, especially when they're young, their peers that they're trying to impress, loved ones, lovers, anything. You know, we can take on beliefs of others, their opinions of us, their judgments of us, and it just stings a little. And you know it's going to sit in there for a minute. And these pains accumulate. And the pains right now, as I see them in the world, have accumulated to unprecedented standards of disbelief and unrealness, really, frankly. So when I look at all this and I see it playing out, and I'm very conscious, you know, part of my job as an alchemist is to be aware of what is being thrown out there around the world. Not everybody can handle this work. It's not for everyone. But for those of us who are here to be kind of on the front lines of human consciousness and the leading edge of that, we have to be aware of where's the opposition coming in, what's going to meet us as the opposition of love, because it's too scared of love's love. And I've seen a lot of things right now that I want to say breaks my heart, if I'm being honest. A lot of judgment, a lot of people telling people things that are so cruel, so unkind, so revealing of themselves and their own pain and their own insecurities, frankly, that it truly makes me realize we're so far from truly reaching that goal of what many call ascension, okay? And I want to be really clear about ascension. To me, ascension is not about getting to another level and off a planet or anything like that. It's really just learning to be comfortable with the love that we are, to be able to radiate that love at all times, to be able to speak our truth no matter what it is, and know that we are always coming from love. And even if the person receiving it on the other end doesn't feel that as love because they're getting triggered by it or something else is going on, that we don't back down, that we are still in mission for love, and that we just continue to hold space for them to come into the realization that there's nothing here but love. So there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to worry about. There's no boogeyman out to get us, right? And that takes a while sometimes, because there have been people who have been really, really brutalized on this planet. We've been doing this for so many eons and millennia, and our lineage and our bloodlines, those cells in our body that are carrying our genetic codes, they remember. You know, even if you don't, because it's not your lifetime now, you might have pains that go way back, you know, in your ancestry, that were part of the Civil War, that were enslaved, that were tortured, that were put through massive crusades and massive injuries. And those memories are stuck sometimes in those cells. So questions and answers are really important to ask yourselves, your higher selves, your lower selves, all the elements of who you are. It's important to engage, right? And it's important to have the courage to go into those deeper, darker aspects. And it comes to one of the questions that came out of the angelhood, and I want to thank Angela for it. I'm going to start with that. That's what's coming up first. And again, for those of you who had some questions last week, I will do my best to get to them tonight as well. But this was an important one, you know, because it was on the collective. And I want to say I select questions that are going to best serve the collective and be relevant to our highest evolution right now, because we are in unprecedented times of human evolution, I believe. And some things are relevant to that, and some things are just more like, oh, that's nice to know, but not necessarily as relevant. So just be aware of that. It's not that I'm ignoring your questions. It's just we have a limited time, and I want to give the most pertinent questions that are going to assist people at a collective level the most attention that I can. So this question comes in from Angela. She says, In regards to shadow work, how do you know if there's something that needs to be addressed? I'm not sure how one truly does inner child work or shadow work if one is not consciously aware of everything. Something was brought to my attention lately which absolutely floored me in regards to subconscious behaviors and how those get manifest in my creations. I thought I was one way, now I'm wondering who is the authentic self. I'm not sure if I'm doing the work. Okay. I want to say this, you're always doing the work. As long as you are breathing and living and in this human suit, you are doing the work. Okay? Everything you are experiencing, everything that you're processing, I'm actually working with you right now processing it, is doing the work. Okay? So you are in a soul evolution, massive soul evolution, and you've decided to kind of fast track yourself, Angela. So understand that when you do that, when you run into the fire, so to speak, of transmutation, that violet fire, as I call it, it's going to bring up your stuff, and that is the shadow work. You know, you've been doing the shadow work. I know you've been involved with the Angelic Academy programs, and Diamond Dream Alchemy is massive shadow work. I mean, that is what the keys are designed for. So it's going in and getting into the inversions, into the misinformation that's in your cells, that's in your soul, that's in your frequency, and it's dissolving it out, right? But now sometimes we want to kind of face things head on. We want to just look at our shadow element. We want to look at those things that are really painful. And other times we want to go through the back door. We want to go through the back kitchen of the restaurant and sneak in and see what's happening. Do we want to attend this party first? So what I'm going to say about that is shadow work comes in various methods. Okay, there isn't one right way. I know Debbie Ford has a way. When she was alive, she did some work with that. That's pretty popular. I don't necessarily have one recommendation. I would say research it and see what you are guided to. I say sometimes when we go into search engines, what's interesting is you'll just be naturally guided or impulse to click on something, and I want you to trust that is your higher saying, yes, this is for you, right? So it's not for me to tell you which shadow work, but I would say that it's anything that's going to get into the deeper elements of who you are that feel hidden, the subconscious beliefs. So there's things like quantum hypnotherapy, beyond quantum hypnotherapy, or BQH. There's some definite elements of, I know people, members of the Angelhood, who do work where they will trace into past life. You know, they can find out. There's people who can possibly do record readings, but however you choose to do it, it's still going to be your work to dive into and through any fear to get to the pain, that's trapped in there and sometimes hard to face, right? About ourselves, about others. The subconscious behaviors are what is running, you know, or projected into your reality more than your conscious mind. So it's absolutely imperative that you get to the subconscious, because that's the one that's really painting the big canvas that you're always experiencing. And you're kind of the avatar in the game, but it's the one that's kind of putting all the players in the game that are assisting you to open up the files that are in the sub that you're not seeing, right? With the stuff the DNA is holding, the codes in there that are invisible to you, right? So inner child work versus shadow work, a little different. Inner child work to me is when we acknowledge that we have an inner child or children, right? And when we address them and we see what's going on with them and we treat them as equals and we love them and we realize we're their best parent, right? And we acknowledge that they might be in pain from years ago, even though you're grown up and you're you know, an adult now, they might still be holding on to some stuff. So it's important to do some Q&Angels with them. So how would you do that? You acknowledge them. You go, hey, Ange, little Ange, what's going on today? What's happening? How can I assist you? What's hurting your heart? What's hurting your feelings? It's a lot about the feelings, the children, right? It's about their feelings. Children are very much about feelings. So when we operate from those feelings, we're taught, no, don't cry. No, don't do that. You know, and we're told things as if our feelings are invalid or our feelings don't. Okay, it's okay. You know, like our parents react because they don't want us hurting. But what that does is it shuts off the feeling. it makes it like, oh, I shouldn't feel, in a way, right? That's how the child interprets that. So sometimes the children have a lot of pent up feelings that they haven't been able to express. And if it goes on for decades, you can best believe it, it earns interest, and that compounding interest can become anger, because the feelings usually are informing, those subconscious feelings are informing your reality. So you have new repatterning of the same feeling. So the feeling comes up, it creates a reality. That person comes in to trigger the feeling, perhaps, whatever. And now you're engaged in a pattern, or let's just call it a scene in a movie that reaffirms, potentially reorganizes a little bit, but reaffirms that your feeling is important, is valid, or that you need to hold on to it, stuff it down, and hide it, and nobody can see it, right? Everybody has different ways to process. So there isn't any wrong way to process your feelings. I highly recommend, if you feel that there's some rage in there and anger, and it can be anger at your own children, it can be anger at your spouse, doesn't matter, parents, whoever it is, it's not necessary to go and address it with that person necessarily directly, but work on it in a subconscious way. So address them at the higher self level, call them into your meditations, have a conversation with them, express your feelings to them. The sub doesn't know the difference if they're really there or not. As long as you create enough of an imaginational field around it, tell them how you really feel, right? You might need to go, I've been talking about this in Halo, as you know, going out and driving around and raging it out while the car's not moving. Go drive and park somewhere, but rage out if you need to get your feelings out. So all of these things are just some of the, I'm just like really loosely covering this, but just know that these are all methods you can do to get really in touch with what is happening in your feeling state. And understand, for those of you who are like, oh, I did all that. I did all the work with my daddy issues, my mommy issues, my ex's issues, all that stuff, right? It might be in your body temple. It might be in the actual physical body. It might be in the blood cells that have informed the body. It might not even be from this lifetime. If you believe in parallel realities or past lives, you might be holding substance in your system that is not even relevant to you now, but it's out picturing in your reality. You're like, why do I keep having this pattern come up? Why can I never make more than this money? And then I sabotage myself. You might have a Templar template, I call it, from the Templar Knights. And that lineage is wide. So that bloodline is really potent for people when they have energies that are, especially in healing communities or spiritual communities, where you can only earn so much for what you do as a healer. Or if you're like a salesperson and you get to a certain place and you're like, oh, that's dangerous if I make too much money, and you sabotage your sales or you quit your job. This yo-yoing with money is very common within many right now. And a lot of that has to do with things that don't even have to do with your current persona, personality. So just know there's a lot of things informing us. We are multidimensional beings, in my opinion. This goes back to the quantum realities of things. We are going to be learning more and more about what that means, how the quantum works. More and more technologies are coming in, different systems are coming in to really expand our consciousness. And anyway, so I think I've gone on a little bit for that. Hopefully that helps. All right. Hopefully that helped you. And I'm just going to say hello. Hello, everybody. Feel free to chat in. If you have any questions live on demand and you have a question that comes up while I'm doing this, or you have a question you want to ask, I highly recommend asking it through YouTube, because I believe that's where the questions come in from. But if you are watching from Facebook, I honor you. Go to YouTube, subscribe there as well. You'll be able to get in the chat there and definitely find us there. And you can also go to angelicacademy.com, look for Q&Angels under live stream, and you can find the live on YouTube there. All right. Okay, what else are we doing? Let's see. There was an interesting question Cynthia asked. Okay. I would like to know where my daughter Larissa's depression and anxiety are coming from, and how can she heal and release it? So I tuned in on this a little earlier. And what I got was there's a little bit going on the father's side, on the ancestral levels. Her depression seems to be covering some kind of fear of loss. So the anxiety and the depression are kind of correlated. So she's picking up on some of the subtle family vibrations and the energy dynamics. So they're both hers, but also others in the family potentially. And it could also be extended even to her friends and soul family, or even the collective. So she's highly sensitive. So sometimes when it's too overwhelming, and the state of the world is overwhelming right now for many, whether she's tuned into that or not, she's still going to feel it. So just know that that's part of it. It can be really intense for her. So I would definitely, again, speaking to what I just spoke to, inner child work, shadow work, getting into some of the subconscious beliefs, doing some types of therapy where she gets to really express her feelings. With an intuitive counselor type would be more ideal, because it's not about just let's just spin over the narrative over and over. It's really about let's get it in and get it cleared, right? Let me see what else is coming up. Really having her feel safe to express feelings, having a confidant, and be her confidant, Cynthia, if you need to be, and I know you probably are. But if they're dark, don't be scared. Hold space for that. If she has really dark stuff coming up, it just wants to come up to be revealed, to be healed, as I like to say. So allow for that. Nothing to have shame over ever. Just pure unconditional love is what you're here to do, to support her. There's also a sense of perfectionism programming a little bit, meaning there's an idea that there's an ideal in her mind, or this idea of being perfect about something. And it's also a sense of she can't ever reach that. It's kind of out of reach for her. And if I can't ever be that, then it makes her sad about herself a little bit. So it's a little bit of that. Anything else? Yeah, it's like feeling like she can't live up to her fullest potential. So it's just important to convey to her how much she's loved, and how much she's already enough just for being here. Just being is enough. There's nothing she has to prove to be worthy of love, to be worthy of your love especially, or her father's love, or anything in the world around her. It's just a self-esteem factor a little bit there, and insecurities that come from that. So it's it's not really one answer to that question. There's a lot of levels to this, but there's an ancestral component that she's clearing for the ancestry, but I pick it up on the father's side. And I would just say, working with her, getting into her sub, allowing her to express feelings, and expressing without any ramifications of feeling like she's going to be judged, right? So that is what I'm getting. So I hope that helps and answers your question. Thanks for asking. All right, Jeanette asks, can the angels address how the collective can create peace, love, and harmony, especially in the US at this time? I love this question. So much going on. Okay. The more that we can get out of judgment, this is the key. Right now, there's so much division, all right? And if we can't hold neutrality about what we're witnessing, no matter what is happening in the circus, right? The energy circus that is politics, especially in the US, if we can't stay neutral, out of judgment, and see love in everything, then what we can do is work on ourselves to figure out, where does that judgment creep up? Where are we judging ourselves, and where do we feel the need to be right? And why is our ego still in charge? Because if the ego is still in charge, it is because your mental has you in control, wanting to control, and somehow locking you down. It's important to stay in the free flow of all of that is happening fearlessly. That is the idea. That is the ideal, right? But when we are seeing things and going, oh my God, that's crazy, right? Right away, judgment. If we're seeing things and going, I can't believe that person said that or did that, again, we're in judgment. If we have a response to it, that is that energy, right? If you're looking and going, wow, okay, that person just totally lost their, you know what, all right, not what I would do, but great. It's literally neutral. There's just a different energy to it. So the challenge, I guess, for most people right now is to not let the frequencies and energies overwhelm their system to the point where they're just constantly reactive and feeding on the energy of reactionary, consciousness right now. So it's this ping pong effect, right? If we look at the best solution, the greatest solution that we would have right now in this country is to dissolve all parties and bring the parties together and have a Republican president and a Democratic vice president, or opposite, Democratic vice president, Republican president, whatever. We'd have a dual system where both parties work together and collaborate, and not have a single guru leader, Messiah complexed, whatever, going, I'm going to save everybody and help everybody. And we're like, please do, and giving our power away to some soul figure. The age of the guru is over. The age of these ideas of, one person in power needs to come to an end, because the consciousness is shifting and ready for that. It's just there's some people who have a hard time letting that go because they're really attached to what is comfortable, what is known, what is tradition, the nostalgia of it, what feels safe. And as humans, we don't like change. So the best thing that we can do, especially in the US right now, is change. Change something in your life. Anything. Change the way you wear your hair, change some lipstick if you're going, change the way you decorate your house, make some changes around you. Be comfortable with change. Get ready for change so that when the change comes, because it's going to come, it's coming. Whether we like it or not, change is coming. And it doesn't come in the way that you think always, right? And we are going to accelerate and ascend into higher consciousness no matter what. Even the people who are completely clueless and have no idea that there's a consciousness change going on right now and already in process, everybody's getting on the bus, guys. Everybody. And I've used this analogy so many times. Some people are like, what bus? Well, you're going to find out there's a bus. And then you find out the bus. You're like, how do I get on the bus? Well, these are the things you got to do to get on the bus. Okay, now I'm on the bus. Now what? Well, you're going to ride the bus and you're going to see what it's like to be on a roller coaster for a while. And it's going to take you through some stuff and you're going to have to learn how to handle it. And then eventually you're going to arrive in another destination, which is the speed train. Okay, and the speed train is this frequency rocket ship kind of energy that suddenly your mind is like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening right now. I can't believe this is happening. I had no idea. What? And you completely go into massive states of awakening. Okay. And what I mean by awakening, so much is sequestered and quarantined and locked down in the consciousness, right? So much is shut down in how we look at the world. This whole planet, in a sense, is a giant quarantine, in terms of how it's run and controlled. So we're waking up to realities now. And I think what's beautiful about what we've gone through in 2020 is that we've really had some time to look at and assess and see, do I really love my job? I haven't been going to work for a few weeks now. Do I really love it? I don't know. Maybe I'm not meant to do that anymore. And we start asking the questions, going back to questions. That's been the benefit, right? And I think, Stav, you had asked this question, let me find it just because we're rolling into that now. Where is it? As we head into the end of this year, can you speak to the higher perspective on what 2020 has taught us as a collective? So I just want to kind of address that since it's naturally going that way. First of all, it's how to have patience, a lot of patience. Patience is a virtue, as they say, for a reason. We are bound to time. We are learning how to deal with what's called timelines, how timelines are created, how our consciousness creates time, essentially, how we believe in time. Time is a man-made substance or construct. It's not really real. It's what we give it as measurement. We measure this. So patience, we've been tested on patience in order for us to release our attachment to outcome, our attachment to when things have to happen in our time. Again, going back to the ego control, has to happen on my schedule. No, things don't happen on your schedule or my schedule always. Sometimes there's what you would call the divine time, right? Tolerance is another one. We're going to have to really look at tolerance. How do we tolerate other people that are different from us? Because this is the thing. If you think we can perpetually stay in this world in a divided state of us and them, whether that's capitalists and communists, whether that's Republican Democrats, whether that's Jewish and Christian or Islam, whether, whatever the separated labels are, whatever your label is that you smack on your forehead and you say, I am that. You give yourself an ID of some kind. That creates separation because now you are this and you are not something else. I understand some people are like, well, this is what I stand for. These are my values. I understand that. But at some point, we really come down to the core of how do you feel? How are you feeling? How does it feel to be so righteous in your Christian ways of fundamentalists to judge everybody who doesn't believe the way you do, as an example? And I mean no judgment. I'm just saying, giving an example of where some people are coming from. How do you feel that you're a vegan and you don't eat any meat and you're so great because you don't ever kill an animal, and you're going to judge everybody who does. You just lowered your frequency to be what you're judging. The minute you judge it, you create relationship with it, you go into that frequency, and now it doesn't matter what you're putting in your body because your toxic mentality has now reinformed you. And this is why consciousness and frequency always comes first. This is what I always talk about, frequency first. Because if we are looking at any of these things as more than just realities that are being constructed by light and sound, fundamentally holographic creation, and we're looking at these things as any more than that and giving them such substance and taking it so seriously, okay, then we are really in a division that is fractaled to such a degree on so many levels and in so many systems that how do we bring that together, right? How long is this going to take? So going back to Jeanette's a little bit, it's like, what can we do? Be the love. Feel love. Love your enemies first. Your perceived enemies of your state. I've talked about this before. Realize we really need human connection to feel joy and happiness and fulfillment. And we've learned what human connection, how important that value is this year, right? Because we've been disconnected more than ever, because we've been forced to go onto Zoom calls and not have real hugs heart to heart anymore as much, unless you have a family that does that and you're isolating with them. So we've really got to look at that, the importance of human connection. And we needed to do that because we were self-isolating through our screens, through our computers and our phones, and checking out and not listening to our kids because we're too busy looking at our computers or whatever else that people do to separate themselves from the present moment of eye engagement with another human being, which is the only way you're going to create soul growth is through relationship with another human life force, living light being. You're not going to create it through virtual reality engagement. It's not going to be the same. It's like the artificial intelligence, right, versus the angelic intelligence. So the other thing is, we really have to look at how violence solves nothing. Nothing. Protesting is important, but there's other ways to protest that are peaceful and more effective. An example of this would be stop buying products that kill you or kill the planet. You vote with your dollar. You want to make change in this world? Vote with your dollar. Stop buying at stores that you know are destroying our planet. Stop buying products that don't care about your life. Do your research. And we all have to do that. You're not waiting for someone else to do the work. You got to do your research. You got to decide. You got to figure out what's your value and what is valuable to you to put in your body, on your body, into the environment. Because without the environment, this is game over. Let's be honest, right? So that's the most important thing. So when I see the trees burning around the planet, this fire planet, this fireball planet we've been in, it's all the rage of the planet that's being released that we're not dealing with. And it's forcing us to now breathe the toxicity that we haven't dealt with in those areas that have been having fires, because it's just needing to get it out. You know, it's been ignored for too long. So 2020 has taught us a lot. Looking also at that not all that glitters is gold. Not all that looks spiritual is spiritual. If people who are coming across as, you know, giving you conscious thoughts that are disempowering, that you have no power over, but I'll save you, that kind of energy, got to look at that. You know, where are you giving your power away? And not all that is dark and scary and looks horrible is bad. That's the other lesson. There's an art of war going on here, guys, a little bit, right? There's this energy. A friend of mine mentioned this the other day, and he was so right. There's strategies happening. There's things going on behind the scenes. So just trust that if you are focused on the outcome you know you deserve, this planet deserves, our children deserve, which is a beautiful, peaceful planet that's thriving where people can be healed momentarily in a moment, right? They don't have to suffer anymore. Visualize all the technologies coming forward that can help this planet and people. Service of people and planet is my main moniker. And so I would just say that's where you can start focusing some change. That's what we've been learning this year, is that we've had to look at a lot of things that we weren't really looking at. That's what the 2020 vision's about. A hindsight vision. We get to look back now this year and go, what did we learn? So I invite you to look at what you've learned personally. And it was a great question, Stav. Thanks for asking that, and Jeanette both. So I'm going to get to some of these other smaller questions really quick and knock these out. As I think, Peter, you might ask this. I'm not sure who asked this, but this was from last week. There's a few here. As there are angels over cities, districts, states, and countries, how does the name of these angels reflect upon the governing of those areas, and what is our role in this? So first of all, this is a belief system that there are angels over cities and countries and stuff. We've created this as humans. Just like we create our religions, we create our belief systems. And so that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But whatever you're putting your belief into, just know that you now create relationship with. So that is our role in it. You are now holding space for that belief. But let's just say we go there and we say, sure, there's an angel over a city or a town. There are holographic tones and frequencies that govern the overall energy of the space or nation or city or whatever, right? And it generates an energy that facilitates the purpose of that city. Almost like there's karma, some people call it karma, or energy of density to something. There's a tone, there's an energy to the name of the angel. Again, the angel is an angle of consciousness, so whatever that is for you. And it generates the purpose of that space. It informs the intention of that space through the tones. Now, the tones could be the vowel tones, the sounds, the letters in gematria. Gematria is an aspect of making letters into numbers. Numbers then become frequency. So everything goes back to frequency, right? So that name is a governing agent of frequency, currency, the currents of frequency that run into the city, state, nation, what have you. So it's informed by the name. So be mindful of whatever the name feels like, sounds like. Does it feel high vibration, low vibration? Does it feel jarring? Does it feel melodic and harmonic? These are kind of some of the things to think about. And cities as names, whatever the name is, it's going to have a tone, and it's going to be informed by that. So that's just the best way I can kind of answer that. Another question, what is the significance and the size of angels? I would just say, if you are speaking to angels as beings of light, okay, these are thought form beings that are created in the holographic halo of us, around us, and it's the amount of frequency or current that they hold in terms of how big or small. You might see them as orbs, right? If they're this tiny one, that's what people might say, oh, it's a fairy. It's just a little tiny angel, fairy. Then it's holding smaller current. It's just holding a smaller energy to it. And then if it's larger, it's broader bandwidth, it's going to hold massive amounts of frequency. What does that mean? It's going to have more conscious intelligence within it to access from. It's going to be informing more. It's going to have a lot more intelligence of consciousness to create something. So that's, I guess, the best way I can answer that question. Okay, Lisa had a question. How can you tell, and Lisa, I took your question and kind of truncated. I had Stav help me truncate it. How can you tell if what you're feeling is an ascension symptom, somatic response, meaning a body response to your emotions, or an actual physical symptom from illness? So, this is interesting. They're all the same, okay? And what I mean by that is if you feel a physical symptom from an illness and you think I might be ill, there's a consciousness to that. The minute you're thinking like, oh, what is this? What if I have this, right? And we go into the fear, your body's responding the minute you have the consciousness. Now, if you're wondering, now, is this an ascension symptom or is this just a standard symptom? Doesn't matter. I mean, it's a symptom. It's your body's getting your attention, saying, hey, wake up. I need your help. I need your assistance. I need you to be aware of something. And I've talked about the secret language of body. I think it's called that, Ina Segal, for this, because it's a beautiful way to map out the body. I know there's other books like this. I put up in the Angel Hood, I think the other day, Feelings Buried and Alive Never Die. Getting to the feelings is frequency, that are informing you, is really important. So wherever the pain's coming up, whatever the symptom is, if you're exhausted in general, or if you're feeling like I need to purge rage, I think you had mentioned something about that, it's getting the feelings up and assessing them, right? And getting the feeling vibration higher and letting go of the denser feelings. And again, those feelings can be trapped in the muscles. So that's where you go into somatic release, right? You go into the body release work, biodynamics or energetics. If it's an actual physical symptom, the most important thing you can do is put your hands on it. I know Tina Marie and I were talking about this, and just loving it. It's putting love in there. It's like, oh, my knee hurts. Oh, I love you, knee. Thank you, knee, for supporting me. I love you, right? So these kind of things. And really, acknowledgement is the best solve for that. First thing is acknowledgement. Acknowledge the pain. Acknowledge the symptom. If you're tired, sleep. Take a nap. If you can't sleep and take a nap, try not to go to coffee or Red Bulls or whatever those things are, you know, to give your adrenals a rush, because your adrenals will go into overdrive, but they will burn out eventually. So do your best to go to vitamin C and other natural forms of support. You might need sugar in a form of a fruit. You know, I know a lot of you think, oh, I can't have any sugar. Well, you might need certain amounts of sugar. So really check into your body, and you can muscle test, do kinesiology to see, can I eat this orange or this apple or whatever it is you want to put in your body. Really start to muscle test the foods before you buy them at the store or before even you put them in your body. I'm always changing my food up every day based on what my body needs. The ascension symptoms that people talk about, this means that we're having more pains, inflammation in the body. Well, why? Because our feelings are holding on to dear life to things that we don't want to change, and our bodies are already vibrating to some degree at these higher states, what people might call the fifth dimensional and up, or what I call diamond light versions of themselves. But our consciousness is still trying to hold that back. And it's like pulling that body back down, and it doesn't want to go back down because the body doesn't have the same connection or attachment as the consciousness does, right? So the body's like, let's go. And you're like, no, I'm not ready to go. And the body's like, but we're going. You don't really have an option to go because I'm getting hit by photonic light from the solar energies and the Schumann resonance energies. So my physical is going up whether you like it or not. So we're going, right? This is the whole bus to speed train thing. There's going to be some friction, and that's going to be pain, and that's going to be exhaustion and everything else. So right now, what I know is the body leads. What does your body want to do? What is your body saying to you? What is your body needing? What is your body requiring? Listen to your body. And if you find that the body wants to put a lot of junk food in, okay, no. That is your addict. That is your addiction energy and entities, let's call it what it is, that are pulling you back down and keeping you from ascending. So you got to address those, right? Because the body will only want life force frequency foods, things that support its lightness, right? Living foods, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, fresh and things that can have measurable light underneath. I think the Kirlian photography, right? They would give off light, literally. So a lot of cooked foods, it's fine. You're going to get some nutrition from them, but I would say, 80-20 split that. 80 live foods, some kind, sprouted grains. Soak your nuts, by the way, and seeds, because there's like a chemical that exists on all nuts before you soak them that is a protective agent. So if you can't digest nuts, soak them. All right. If you have a hard time digesting nuts, soak them first. They actually taste different, and they're really cool. It releases some of these chemicals that are actually designed to protect the nut. So longer story, I don't have time to get into, but do that. What else can I tell you? Sprouts are really great. All right. So live foods, try to incorporate some more live foods. Live green drinks, excellent. Celery juice every first thing in the morning. I've talked about this very much as celery juice, what do you call that? supporter. So these are just some things to assist your body in high vibration. And when you do that, you're in alignment with the body saying, I love you, body. I'm giving you what you need. And I trust you, body. And thank you, body. Right? Every time you take an action of loving your body through what you feed it and how you serve it. And again, baths, salt baths, and massages, and all these other things are loving your body. Okay? There's a lot of ways to do this. I'm just addressing food first. Supplements, of course, and things like that too, right? So just know, really loving your body, honoring your body, letting your body lead right now, super important for ascension. You want to ascend fast, your body's already there. Get on that bus. All right, so that's my answer there. Hopefully that helps. Let's see if anything came in. Hi, Maya. Oh my goodness. Love you, honey. Lisa, hi. Thank you. Oh my goodness, love you guys. Hi, Shishi. Hi, beloveds. Oh my goodness. Peter asked a question. So again, I want to say, those of you joining live, thank you. I had a few questions that came in advance. I'm going to come to your lives. Are archangels parts of ourselves? For example, if we engage with Raphael, are we engaging with a part of ourselves that will reveal the cause of that which needs healing? Okay, Peter. So, Peter, I kind of pioneered the idea of angelic arts and sacred sciences as letting go of the concepts of angels as these beings with wings and halos only. So this is a great question because it's really what I teach is all about angelic embodiment. And what that means is we are acknowledging the light that is transmitting through us, as us, always, from source, God, goddess, whatever you want to call it, the universe. It's an intelligence of life. It is transmitting through you. You are the instrument. When you say, I'm working with Raphael, that is like opening up a file folder on your computer saying, oh, I want to open up the folder that has to do with healing, right? And love and self-care and nurturing and those types of energies, let's say, right? Because that's what it has been designed through many centuries now to be. So we're not going to change everything over. We're not going to just throw that out because it's been a relationship that has been built through the consciousness of humanity for a long time in terms of how we engage the system. It's an agreed upon kind of consciousness. So we use Raphael as that label, but you could just as easily, if somebody's like, I'm not into angels, angels freak me out, I don't like religious stuff, right? I'm the person who says, that's great, that's fine too. Maybe just see it as the energy frequency color of green, emerald light, right? See it as a frequency. However you want to engage it, understand you are setting the intention in that moment that when I connect to the emerald light stream and pull that into my body and I visualize that in my third eye or my inner movie screen, my mind frame, I call it, I am engaging with that which heals, however you want to label it, okay? Is there a being known as Raphael? For many there is. Why? Because many people have put their belief into that, constructed that. We are creators. So we create beings, we create thought forms, we create all sorts of things all the time. We create our realities. So you could call in a being known as Raphael if you need that visual validation, let's say, right? Some people do that. For me, it was never about that. For me, the lessons were commune with the frequencies of life that you are, become the angel. Stop giving your power away to something external to take care of you. You take care of you by embodying that will just take care of it automatically. So it's just a different way of looking at it. And I hope that that makes sense for you. So you're asking if it will reveal the cause of that which needs healing. Absolutely. I would highly recommend this is a process, and I would highly recommend going to, in fact, I'll put this up so you guys have this. If you go to angelicacademy.com and you subscribe, I do a specific light stream, a diamond light meditation, okay? You'll get your free diamond light meditation. And I have all these little tricks here now on my screen. And this is essentially a meditation that will guide you through a reveal, release, and restore process, okay? It's one of my earliest meditations. It's one of my original recordings. And I love it because it brings in such a purity of that time when I was awakening myself. But what this will do is it will reveal those areas in your body, in all your systems that are kind of hiding from you with the ultraviolet frequency. Then it will use the violet to cleanse, clear, and release them. And then it will use the diamond light to restore your system. All right. there's a lot of other ways that you can do these things, right? There's a lot of different ways to access into the substance of what we create within ourselves, how we are informing ourselves through the consciousness we are. But this is a really good place to start. And of course, angelicacademy.com has programs and such, Peter, that will put you through all sorts of education around angels, and Diamond Dream Alchemy being one that is really advanced in terms of specific, it's almost like the individual fiber optics of your entire system that's either running at full capacity or inverted, right? And it assists you in getting everything up to full capacity. So it's quite the journey, and I highly recommend that as well. And so I hope that helps answer your question. Okay, let's see if anybody else, let's see what else. Oh my goodness, Maya, I love that, right? Vote with our dollars for sure. Okay, so let's see. Lisa, adrenals are fried. I'm telling you, this is where a lot of people are right now. You know, we really are not paying enough attention to the body sometimes because we're so focused on getting our mind and, you know, managing the thoughts and what we're creating with our consciousness. And we put so much focus there, and that's necessary. We really got to get that a handle on that, because what we don't realize is what we're speaking goes into our cells of our body, right? And it can be overwhelming managing all that we are, honestly. So I know for myself, I'm now realizing, okay, I get to come back to the body again. It's time right now. And that's why I'm sharing this so much, because it's really time for us to love ourselves more than ever. The more that we focus on loving ourselves and dropping the need to control and fix what's out there, and we just come back to us. And I know it sounds like, oh, but that's being so selfish. No, you're being self-full. You're filling your cup. You are no use to anybody if you are empty and drained out, right? So we are filling ourselves. We are fueling ourselves up. We are bringing as much light force energy. And I've been running on pure light force for probably the last 4 years, 5 years. And my adrenals are like, girl. So I've realized I need to check into the body, check in, take care of myself better, right? And so a lot of us are doing that. Maya, I love your question. So she says, do we all have our own one color aura, or does it change depending on our vibrational state or mood? It absolutely changes. It changes moment by moment. You will have a core ray or tone or light stream that you are kind of born through, right? So depending on where you came in, and I'd have to look at your angelic soul keys, girl, to kind of really let you know what that is. But whatever your tone was when you were born, that is the frequency you chose to come in on. A lot of us chose to come in on the Michael tone, or the sapphire light stream tone, which is the blue ray vibe. The blue ray energy has a lot to do with Lemuria, the ancient architecture of consciousness that is Lemuria, right? What we believe is Lemuria. Lemuria can kind of represent just ancient timelines, right? The ancient times and the original times, even predating the Atlantean times. I kind of see it as that. It's when we first came out of the holographic light beingness of formation and into full density of human formation. And you can kind of see the hue as color, right? And that the original hue of humanity was blue. Okay, so many of us who are on the planet carry that blue tone in because we are reassembling and healing and designing what we're doing going forward from that original template. Pre-Atlantean times, for those of you who are into Atlantis stuff. Now, again, I adopt all these mythologies to address these mythologies, and I highly recommend letting go of all mythologies, in a sense, and all narratives now, because we are really creating a new now. We are coming from a new feeling state, a new consciousness. It's not about what's gone before. It's not about holding on to scriptures. All of that is no longer living light. It is static. It is stuck in the past. The only time you are in living light is in the now and going forward and creating from that. So right now I'm in living light with you, right? Because it's coming through me on demand in living light stream. I'm not, really reading much other than the questions and stuff, but like fundamentally, everything I'm doing is not scripted. I'm not reading out of a book that somebody else wrote. I'm giving you what I'm getting through me on demand for you. So we can all do this. I didn't go through a near-death experience to get this skill set. I did not have to go through trauma to get this skill set. I trained, went to the gym, the angel gym, if you want to call it that, but I went to my version of the gym every day and I studied and I learned how to do what I do now. Everybody can do this. Every single person watching me can do this. We can all come to a place of trusting this instrument called the heart, that energy of I know what I know to be true for me. And remember, it only needs to be true for you. You don't need to convince anybody that it's their truth. It's your truth. I'm just sharing what I know, and you'll take what works for you. And if it doesn't work for you and doesn't resonate, great. I have zero attachment to that, right? But I can only share with you what's worked for me, and it's my truth. If you tend to adopt it and borrow it to get you through until you figure out your truth, great, right? So I would just say, yes, we vibrate all the time. We are literally a spectrum rainbow of light. I have a photo, actually, Maya, where you literally, I call it the angel afro. It's like a rainbow over my head. I'd called in my counsels. I said, I'd like to see what you guys look like. Bring it. And I literally had an angel afro. Okay. It was like this giant, it was like a clown wig. Those clown, not kidding you, on a Kirlian photography. So they took a legitimate Kirlian photography, not the digital kind, but the one with the plate and the whole thing. It was fascinating to me because normally I come in with very blue tones, like as a rule, maybe a little white. Now the last Kirlian I did was mostly all white because I've gone full diamond light. Like I just do source now. So that's where seraphim energies, or what you call source energies, come through. And I'm capable of embodying that. And it takes time, guys, and it takes the energy. You need to bring it in gently to begin with, because the body's like, what is happening? So this is what I train everybody to do, is get their instrument aligned to that. This is what the angelic dream keys are about. Diamond Dream Alchemy is about, because we are dreaming awake the new reality. We are the dream makers. We are the world builders. It's what we are here to do. And we're building this new earth from scratch, really, because we have to let go of the old earth of violence, division, enslavement, betrayal of trust, right? All these things that have gone before us that just had us completely out of love. And now we're coming back to love. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of where we're at. So the best thing I can say is, you are a being, an instrument of living light. What are you doing with it? How are you bringing it into the world? I know, Maya, you sing it. You made me cry in the summit, girl. You made me cry. You're the only one that made me cry. Because you're so pure, right? And that's the key. And if you guys don't feel good about yourselves, you're still holding a residual energy of like, I'm not good enough. And I want to say, yes, you are. You're more than good enough. You are so good. You are such a good person. I like to think, you're such a good girl, you're such a good boy, talking to your little kids inside. You did so well. You made it. You are here during this time. Do you have any idea what that means? Do you have any idea who you are to be here present in this moment of history? The most important moment of history of this planet so far. If you are here, you are a warrior. Don't forget that. Please remember. So the question, are we changing our past by skipping timelines? Ooh, timeline talk. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go into Gamma to get this one. What does that mean? The dragons, the seraphim. The archetypes of dragons mean you go big. You go bigger than angels or archangels, you go dragon, right? And I want to say the demonization of dragons is such a crime against humanity, frankly. It's unplugging us from our power, and it's sovereign power that is not bound by anything. I think, Peter, you had asked a question, maybe it was you, about tethered and untethered. We are bound to the consciousness that limits us, the beliefs that we limit ourselves with. When we go big, when we go broad, when we expand our light, we go into these places and spaces of life, force, energy, that is the unseen, that is the total clear vibrations of such pure bliss. And we may never want to come back from that sometimes. And for those of you who meditate regularly and you know what I'm talking about, you get to those places. These dragons are literally the archetype of the holographic field or matrix that is holding the consciousness of this planet together, if you will. They work with our cetaceans, the dolphin and whale tribes. They work with the elephants. They work with a lot of the beings like the bees and the hummingbirds, some of the multidimensional beings. They work with a lot of our quote unquote animal tribes to inform and reinform and recalibrate the systems regularly. These dragons are just broader bandwidth is the best way to describe it. They're also known as the seraphim, and I work with them. I've been working with them now for quite a few years, and they're beautiful because they are the aurora borealis energies. They are also the lightning, right? They represent archetypes for us to get an understanding and at the soul level of broad, big beings. But they've been put into these like reptilian scale kind of costumes to make us kind of afraid of them, frankly. And they are not that. They are beautiful beings of light, beautiful beings, beautiful streams that just are so ginormous. They fill up a whole sky, okay? Now, they will sometimes represent for certain people as more of like a being, right? Like I said, same thing as angels, because the person has a connection somehow to that. And that's how it wants to show up to get the attention of the person. But for me, it's always been these giant beings of just consciousness and massive amounts of light that are just streaming through the skies. I used to call it the angelic light stream. And then eventually sovereign light stream came in. I'm like, what's that? And that was when I had accessed just all of this bandwidth consciously at the same time simultaneously. So the difference here, just to kind of go back to what Peter was asking about, you can access an archangel, like meaning one thread or one stream of one color, or you can stream and weave together a few of threads or colors, right? Or you can have like 12 of them, like the whole bandwidth. So that's what I'm talking about. So timelines are what they manage, what they create, based on our consciousness and interfacing with them. So they're constantly reading and recording what we're engaging with and how we're feeling. And it's an interface between us and them all the time. And based on the collective consciousness, based on what the entire world agrees upon moment by moment, those timelines adjust, right? So why we are seeing so much engagement with our media, social media, and stories and narratives that are trying to uplift as well as downgrade us, and it's constantly like this every day. It's kind of like a timeline war, right? And it's like, no, get over here. It's like advertisement of like, come over here to drama. No, we really like you over here at the light, right? So we are always a choice. And so when we start to work with the dragon frequencies directly, though, what's interesting is you hold the sovereign state, you hold neutrality, you hold 0-point field, where you don't get stuck in any of the timelines. You become what I would call like a time lord or master. And you create your own timeline, and you start to walk into the world that you want to create and you want to experience. And none of this over here, peripheral, is going to take you off focus of that. So skipping timelines isn't really what I would say necessarily the right wording on that. You can collapse timelines and rescript is one way to do that, where that reality doesn't exist in your system anymore. You go back into a memory field and you rescript it. Sandra Biskind, who was in the summit, is really good at that, and I know others that do that. So you go back, and instead of having some horrible death, you never died, this other thing happened, right? And you can do it for yourself. I've done it for myself. You can work with somebody who does it. But that's one thing, that you go into the past memory banks, change it and it won't inform your system anymore. So that might be what you're asking about. But you can also maybe re-ask the question if maybe I'm not answering it right. But what happens there is once that memory is collapsed out or rescripted, your future now is going to be different because your system right now in the present is going to be different. So it's going to directly affect how you go forward. Hopefully that answers the question. We do the best we can here in the Angelic Academy. All right, Peter, how relevant do you think is the need to access the Akashic records for personal reasons? Peter, I find that people who want to go into their memory, it's usually because their records are going to be holding things that might help them deal with certain current event systems going on, like things that are just trauma in the body. If you're not really feeling a lot of that, then I don't see the point in going into the past, to be honest with you. The records are only going to be there if it's going to assist you in dealing with the present, if it can support you in moving through something now that you can't let go of. And you're like, I can't figure it out. I've revisited this. I've done all this work. It keeps coming up. This keeps coming up, that kind of stuff. If it's a pattern that repeats, then the records are helpful. Okay, then you go into the records, you find someone who can go into the records and go, okay, this is where the core original trauma happened. Let's collapse that out. When you collapse that out, it's like a domino effect, and it just affects the whole lineage of that. Okay, and this goes through the bloodlines mostly, but it can go through your light stream lights, like your soul line too. But anyway, I hope that makes sense. I want to introduce the dragons to you guys. I was kind of contemplating this, but they came in and they're here, and I'm accessing Gamma right now for that reason. So when I access Gamma, this came in, this was really funny. One of the reasons I know this is the truth. So I had a body worker one time work on me, and she always was in like Delta Alpha, whatever the other brain waves were, to access systems, subconscious systems in the body and clear things out. And she gets to me and she's like, whoa, I have to go to Gamma to get to your system. Like, it wasn't even in her normal framework. She was like, what's going on? And so when you get to these Gamma levels, you know, and I'm really clear that it was in a different lifetime that I learned how to do this, and now I'm just remembering it. But when you go into these higher frequencies of Gamma, you start to access source stream, like direct source, and it's intense energy. A lot of times you'll feel a lot of fire come in your system. A lot of inflammation can come in. Anyway, just know it can be intense. So I don't recommend just going right there. If some of you are channels and light streams yourself, proceed with caution, all right? But what I want to do is I want to introduce you to some new dragon friends of mine. I got a new deck. I was telling some of my friends, they're like, oh, tell me. This is the deck. I'm going to put it up. It's called the Dragon Path. Caroline Mitchell, my goodness. Blessing you, Caroline, because I know like half the people watching are going to buy this deck. It's a beautiful deck. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to pull some dragon cards. And these are going to be the dragons I'm going to ask about are archetypes. Remember, these are archetypes. Now, what I love about the Dragon Path deck in comparison to the other deck I use, which is Diana Cooper's, because I'm very selective, by the way, guys, about which decks I use, because sometimes they carry really dense energy. People tend to still go toward the old paradigm dragon mythology stuff that can get really dark, and I'm not into that. So I'm very selective, so that's why this is Stephanie approved. But what I'm going to say when you start to work with the dragon energies, I work with the diamond dragons. Those were the first ones that came in. And the diamond streams are really what we are pulling into the planet right now. Why I call it Diamond Earth versus 5D. I don't put a label of 5D on it so much, other than for the benefit of just clarity for people sometimes, is because it is multidimensional, because we are multidimensional. So we're really claiming that it's always changing its consciousness, and we're acknowledging that. So it can be multidimensional. So it's not like you're getting to a location. It's not like I made it to 5D and like I can have a pina colada now. No. It's always an evolution, right? So you're always going to be bouncing your frequencies up and down, depending where you're feeling, where your frequency's at. Just a reminder for those of you new, one of the things I recommend to everybody in the angelhood and stuff is put up Post-its around the house that say frequency first, just to remind yourself and have your sub remember its frequency first. Okay, that just came in, so thank you. Okay, so let me just bring in some sound, because I want to do a little quick card reading for you guys with the dragons to wrap this Q&Angels up. I figured the dragons would be a nice way to do that. Let's just come in for a second. Opening up the gates. Okay, just clearing all that. So I'm going to do a quick halo activation. What I mean by that is put up a halo really quickly here for us. Normally I do a lot longer process for this. This is the speed version. Let me just do this real quick. Call forth the angelic light streams, sovereign light councils of the seraphim, the Ophanim, the cherubim, and the Elohim to be present with us now, bringing forth the archangels of Metatron, Archangel Michael, Uriel, Gabriel, and Raphael to hold the four corners, four directions, four states of sovereignty, creating an archangelic chamber of light around each individual present here for attunement, harmonic alignment, and recalibration. Calling forth Archangel Raziel to administer the rose gold frequency for high immunity. Thank you, Raziel. And calling forth Archangel Zachiel to bring forth the violet light stream for pure transmutation, along with the beautiful Lady Amethyst of the ultraviolet to bring forth the transfiguration process as appropriate. Thank you. And calling forth the sovereign power of the sacred sovereign masculine, a titanium frequency of light, and the platinum streams coming in of the sovereign feminine, the immortal liberator, here to assist us in shielding up, creating a barrier or boundary between ourselves and all, and just securing the interface of who you are, what you are responsible for, accountable for, what is truly you, creating that living edge of light, that boundary between you and the rest of Source. Holding that space for a moment to feel into that space, that halo. And holding the beautiful frequencies of high Christ conscious mastery as the cherubim are coming in, the diamond light frequencies of the diamond lion tribes. Thank you, thank you. Diamond dragons, thank you. And the diamond angels of Andromeda, thank you. Okay, thank you guys. Also calling forth the gatekeepers of these solar energies, the sun that comes in, this beautiful Stargate portal of Christ consciousness, and Yeshua, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Grandmother Hannah, and the rest of the Nazarenes, as well as the ancients, as well as the ancestors, acknowledging Abraham and the Abrahamic traditions in this moment of now as well. And just bringing in all these tribes of the indigenous, seeing them come forward as well. And all of this coming in as the Rainbow Nation, the seventh fire, the eighth fire coming in, this alliance of light. Thank you. Okay. So of course the first dragon who popped out right away, Father Time. Why is that important? Father Time is, of course, what we've been talking about with these timelines. And so we are creating in every moment our reality. What do you want to see? Choose that. Let go of the narratives that no longer serve anyone, including yourself. All right. So thank you, Father Time, for being present. Not surprised. This is my core Seraphim Luminaire. This is the one represented by angels. This is the angelic dragon, Luminaire, welcoming in Archangel Uriel energy, because that is the one that governs the Luminaire in this deck. So thank you for that. frequency. And harmony, beautiful harmony coming in. This dragon of harmony is, I'm trying to like straighten this up. Harmony is coming in to just really hold harmony. We are here to hold harmony. This is the purpose of this Q&Angels, because we are leading up to, especially for those in the US, to an election where the importance of harmony and light and knowing the angel within and the power that we have to anchor this frequency is so important right now. So I'm really acknowledging them. Okay, so they're here to really express to us that they are supporting us, they are assisting us, that time is still up for grabs. And what I mean by that is there's nothing set in stone. So when you see people who are future forecasting saying this is going to happen, they're actually hijacking your consciousness and saying, come, follow me, and I'm going to create this reality because this is what I want to see happen, and I'm going to borrow all your consciousnesses and put you on my timeline, so that's the reality we're going to create. And if that is not the reality you want, don't feed it. Your consciousness. Remember, your consciousness is your currency. It is your value. It is the greatest value on this planet right now, more than money, is your consciousness. More money is spent to harness your consciousness than anything else. So give it, figure out what is for you at the highest level, what you see as your version of reality, and put your consciousness there. Okay, that is your job. That is what this is telling me. If you are an alchemist and you are aware that you are an alchemist, and you are aware that it is your job to monitor the timelines, monitor the consciousness of others, and transmute where necessary anything that might be damaging or destructive or in full opposition to living light, just proceed with caution, but know that what you can do is utilize Illuminaire and Harmony to kind of work through your systems, these frequencies, to assist you in holding neutrality about it. If you are not capable of holding neutrality, I highly recommend you unplug from the fray. The freak show, as I like to call it. So that's kind of what we're in right now, all right? These last few weeks are going to be really crazy. All right, anything else? Yes. Who has a question for the dragons? Any question? Let's see. Let's do Q and Dragons right now. Q and Dragons is open. Does anybody have a question that they would like to have a dragon align with? And what I mean by that is it will give you an emotional frequency most likely, or something else to tell you what is for you. But what I'm going to say to everybody is no matter what comes forward, it's for all of us. All right, so I'm going to give a moment. And I'm seeing if anybody comes in through my chat stream here. But I also want to look at live on Facebook and see if any of you guys are saying anything there. Because sometimes I think it's supposed to aggregate, but I don't really know. All this technology is so much fun. Okay. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do, while you guys are thinking and figuring out what you want to ask, which dragons other than these can we best align to and ask for support when we are highly disappointed or going through drama of any kind? Okay, so right now, you know, we're going into a time where there's going to be about 50% of the population who are going to be highly disappointed and really in their rage or drama potentially. Because we're very much, like I've said this, we're in like this gladiator war where we have gladiators. It's like I'm rooting for this gladiator or that gladiator, right? And Rome's outside burning around the Colosseum, and we're so clueless because we're so focused on this. And so what I'm going to say is, okay, good for stress. So that's kind of a good idea. Okay, so which dragon can best assist us and help us while we are dealing with stress, disappointment, drama, trauma, anything coming in the next few weeks, especially around the election for those in the US or anything else around the world, anything that's going on in our consciousness when we are feeling really uncertain. Okay, so we're going to ask, so which dragon, please, can best assist us right now as we move through these energies? Here we go. Destiny. Interesting. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Okay. I'm going to actually, they're telling me to read Destiny. So this is interesting. She's like, read what I have to say. Okay. I will do that, sweetheart. Destiny is an interesting one. Okay, so Destiny, do this the best I can, is a mighty dragon of great authority. She has no time for fluffiness, ego, or human dramas. Interesting, as she puts it. She and her kind have been hidden in the depths of the earth for eons, waiting for us to be ready to take back our power and stand in our individual and collective might. She wants to galvanize us into action so that we stand strong against adversity and, if necessary, fly in the face of authority to challenge systems that are no longer fit for purpose. She says, if you want change, you need to be that change, not wait for others to do it for you. You do not need their permission to live your life your way, nor can they absolve you from responsibility. It is your life, your journey, your path, your walk. Walk it your way. Light and fluffy will not create lasting changes on your planet. And this is why the dragons are here, because they are not the light and fluffy, right? The angels can kind of seem light and nice. These guys are like, no, we're fierce. We're coming. So she's saying that as well. Have you ever tried moving a large square flat-bottomed stone uphill? It is impossible. As humans, you need to come together and work in union, not isolation. Take responsibility for who you are, hold the vision of what you wish to create, and work together with others. We are facing periods of change and at times adversity. We as people of Earth can only achieve a more secure future if we come together and work for the good of all. We can be the change. The time for division has passed. It is time for us to unite, collaborate, and work in unison. So what I'm getting from this is when we are stressed, when we are feeling disappointed in drama, the best thing to do is, again, focus on our own love, heal the division within ourselves, visualize humanity collectively collaborating as much as we can, and in our own way, step into collective collaboration and non-competition with others and heal those energies within us that feel that we have to compete with others on any level, compare to another on any level, think someone is better than us, higher vibration than us, whatever, right? So I think that when we're dealing with a lot of stress, Destiny is great because she gives you the strength to really release the control that comes up with stress, right? Control is what the ego driver wants. It's like, let's control everything. When you surrender, let go, and when you say, am I ready to let this go now? Yes or no? I'm ready to let go, then let it go. I let it go. And when we let go, we let go of a lot of stress, because stress comes up when we want to try to control and manage it. Oh, I got to get this all done. And Father Time is a really good one too, because that will give you permission to say it will happen in divine time. I might be 5 minutes late, but I will be there right exactly when I'm supposed to be there, right? That kind of thing. So Destiny and Father Time come in. And the question's coming in, what is the dragon's connection to the Magdalene Collective? And I would like to say this. The Magdalens, the consciousness of Magdalene were anchors of light at this level. They were sovereign streams. They were the sovereign light streams of their time. They would anchor massive amounts of light into the planet, into consciousness. They would bring light into form through beings of birthing beautiful beings of light, both in physical and non-physical. So you could say they were mothers of dragons, because dragons are elements of formation. And so when we tune into those frequencies and bring them through us, you might see it as the Kundalini energy or something else. We are birthing life force into form. We are creating matter. And therefore you matter when you acknowledge the Magdalene within. So hopefully that answers that. Thank you, Lisa. Good night, sweetheart. Love you. So welcome to the Dragon Tribes. They are beautiful beings. I want to really get rid of the fear around them. That's part of my purpose and mission. As someone who works with these frequencies, I acknowledge their power They are very powerful, use sparingly, as I like to say, and know that when you tap into their frequency, when they find you, and you have all been found if you're watching this right now, there's a reason. They are here to remind you of how powerful you truly are, and it's not a power that you are going to abuse in this life. So it's okay to step into your power now. It's okay to speak your truth. You're not going to be persecuted in this life. This is the life where you get to let out all your talents, all your gifts, all the beauty of light that you are. They give you full permission to do so. You're giving yourself full permission to do so because they are you. You are source. You are all of it. And when we really know this at the deepest levels of our soul, we can change our world. So what I want to leave you with before we sign off is the final Grandmaster Dragon message. She's coming in my mind because she is my home girl, or my homeboy, because it's really neutral. It's not really a gender. Is a luminaire. Okay, so just to remind you guys what she looks like and can tune into her medicine or its medicine. It's a beautiful angelic dragon. It's one of the angel dragons. It's one of my soul dragons. It's one of the Grandmaster dragons. Beautiful dragon. The message. Spiritual warriors of Earth. Yes, I'm talking to you. Spiritual warriors of Earth, collectively, we can change the world. Although humankind is not yet ready for us in all our might, you and others like you are preparing the way, anchoring the light into the planet. Are you ready to continue your amazing journey of empowerment? Do not fear this illumination. Truth is a liberating and powerful ally. Your fears lie with change. But open your heart and welcome it to your core, allowing the light to guide you forward. So tonight's Q&Angels is really dedicated to all of you who are stepping into your light, who are open for change, who are ready for change, and who see a change that is for everyone. It's for the benefit of everyone, not just half of humanity, everyone. And so that is the important thing here. Love your neighbors. Love people who are hard to love sometimes. The more you can practice loving those people, especially, you are changing and alchemizing elements of you that are extremely powerful because you are opening up a field of neutrality that we like to call the 0 point in sacred science. And from that place, you are truly sovereign and free to create anything you like. Change the world, truly. So I love you. Thank you. I want to just invite you again to visit angelicacademy.com. This is where you can subscribe to the Sovereign Source newsletter. You can get reminders of Q&Angels, my other live stream, Angels 911, as well as find out more information of any other events I'm doing or Angelic Academy is hosting in the future when we start to have those in person or online. You never know. And you can also join our sanctuary at theangelhood.com if you haven't already. And this is where you can really share your heart in sacred space. Everybody there kind of knows the intention is to keep it as a sanctuary. So the idea there is share your personal heart, share emotions, share what's coming up in your field. People post beautiful flowers. They post poetry or art. They can, share their songs. Anything that they want to share that is their creative, their God sense, their source stream coming forward into the world that they want to share and connect and create relationships and find each other and know that all of you in the angelhood are recognizing that aspect of you that is divine or sacred. And it's a really magical place off the Facebook lands and the Twitter feeds and all that. It really gets to a place of just deep, deep surrender and to trust and love. And that is what it's designed for. And as we grow it and understand that more and more, we awaken more and more of who we truly are and come together as one. So love you. Love all of you. Thank you so much. Remember, you can get a free Diamond Light meditation at angelicacademy.com. And again, I am Stephanie Lodge, Quantum Angelic Advisor and Ascension teacher, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I love you. Thank you for being here. I will see you soon inside the angelhood or beyond. And until then, be blessed in every way. Know the truth of who you are. And I will see you in the angels, all the angels of light. Love you. Bye-bye. Big hugs.